Hey everyone. So I have been, for my personal devotions in the morning, I've been reading through the book of Proverbs. I pick one chapter a day. So I read through it, and then I will underline, and here I'll show you my Bible, you can see. I'll underline some verses that stick out to me. And then I have a journal where I will then write some of those verses that I underlined in the journal. And so I'm reading God's word. I'm seeing what kind of jumps out at me and maybe what God is saying to me, what I need to learn from that. And then I'm writing them in my journal to help myself remember them. And that's what I've been doing through the book of Proverbs. Just the other day, I read through Proverbs chapter 10. Okay. And I found several verses in there that I really liked. There was one in particular that kind of really jumped out at me. It was a good verse for me to remember. And so I want to take a minute, talk about that verse, kind of explain it. So Proverbs chapter 10, verse 9 says this: "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but he who makes his ways crooked will be found out." Remember, Proverbs is a wisdom book, so there's a lot of kind of statements or short phrases. You read it differently than you would like the book of John, where it's telling the story of Jesus. There's a lot of wisdom statements in here. Now we understand, we've heard the word integrity before. You guys know what that word means. When we think of integrity, we think of someone we can trust. Someone who we know when they say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. The definition for integrity is adherence to moral and ethical principles, moral character, and honesty. And then if you look at synonyms of the word integrity, which gives you a better understanding of what the word means, it includes the words honesty, purity, sincerity, virtue, goodness. The idea is integrity is being honest. It's being real. It's not hiding things. It's not trying to make things up. It's being a person you can trust, or other people can trust you. Integrity is very important. Okay? As you guys continue to get older, you're going to learn how important integrity is. Like at a job, they want you to have integrity. They have to be able to trust you. If you want to be in a relationship with someone, they have to be able to trust you. They want to know you're going to be honest with them. You need to be a person of integrity. And so that's what it says. It says, whoever walks in integrity walks securely. And then look at the second part because it helps explain it. But he who makes his ways crooked, kind of the opposite of integrity, kind of back and forth and deceiving a little bit. There's a little lie here, going this way and going that way. But he who makes his ways crooked will be found out. Lies eventually get found out. The truth eventually comes out. And that's kind of scary. Now, for a little lie, okay, you caught me. But there's some people that have had some pretty big lies in their life. And then when it comes out, it's devastating. Well, that's exactly what this is talking about. He who makes his ways crooked will be found out. The hardest thing about living a life of what it says here is crooked, or the opposite of integrity, of lying, of being deceitful, of not being honest, is that you're juggling all these different lies and things that you've said, or all these different ways of living, or you're trying to remember to do this at this place and that at that place so that everything lines up so nobody finds out you're not being honest, you're not full of integrity. Then you can't live that way. Eventually, people find out the truth. Eventually, something happens. It says, but he who makes his ways crooked will be found out. However, the first part said, whoever walks in integrity walks securely. The reason for that is when you're living a life of integrity, you don't have to cover anything up or hide anything or hope someone doesn't find something out. You can walk securely through life. You can not worry. You be like, well, okay, I've got nothing to hide anyway. I'm not lying. I'm not being deceitful. I'm living a life of integrity. So it's okay. And that verse, when I read it, I'm like, okay, that is such a great reminder, because we are challenged on a regular basis in this life to kind of lie to get our way, to say things to make us sound better in certain situations, to make people believe certain things about us or other things going on. Little ways and big ways. I'm not saying that we do it all the time because we're just pathological liars, but we want sometimes to sound better, or we want people to think best of us, or whatever. There's a lot of different ways where if we're not careful, we don't live with integrity. I was thinking of it for me. So in this situation with COVID-19, a lot of people are out of work. My main job shut down a while ago. Well, I had to apply for the assistance to get some unemployment assistance that the government's doing for all these people that have lost their jobs, so that I'm still getting the money that I need to pay bills. And I was talking to the guy that I'm doing tree work with now, and I'm working with him. So I'm getting a paycheck. Well, there was about 3 weeks where I didn't have a regular job before I started doing the tree work. And I'm trying to get unemployment for those weeks because those are the weeks I needed it for. And I said, there are a lot of people who would probably ask their boss to pay them in cash and not report it to the government so that I could still claim unemployment, and then I'm working and getting paid and collecting unemployment. Well, that benefits me because I'm making twice as much money, but it's deceitful. It's not honest. So I had a choice to make at that time. Would that be something that I would want to do? Would I want to gain by lying? Or do I want to live a life of integrity and say, I just want what is rightfully mine, and I'm going to work hard for the money I have? And my boss, luckily, he's a strong Christian too, and so we're both like, no, we wouldn't do that. He wouldn't pay me that way. I wouldn't ask him to. But we did have that discussion. We talked about that because we know other guys that have done that kind of thing or want to do that kind of thing. And there are a lot of people that take advantage of a system to try and get as much out of it as they can. But that's not living with integrity. Now, that might not equate with you guys exactly, but what's an area maybe in your life where it's easy to kind of be deceitful rather than just being honest? We need to be people of integrity. We need to be people who are honest. And so that was a good reminder to me. Like, I want every area of my life to be an area of integrity. I don't want to have to hide things or try and cover things up over here or pretend one thing and live another way. That's exhausting. And eventually it'll be found out anyway. So here's my challenge for you guys. Read through Proverbs chapter 10. There's 32 verses, and they're all verses like the one I just read. So it's not a difficult read. Proverbs chapter 10, read through it, and then pick one of the verses that kind of sticks out to you, like what I just did. I want to know what verse you chose, and maybe a quick explanation of why you chose it. Why did it stick out to you? What did it speak to you about? What did it challenge you with?